How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about gear ratios for your Jeep XJ. Now this is going to pertain to the stock Jeep 4.0 power plant. Today we're going to be talking about the automatic and the standards because gear ratios are different for automatic transmissions and manual transmissions. A lot of times you get on the internet and they'll try to show you the math, and I've seen a lot of people actually do the math and screw up a little bit on the math and put the wrong gear ratio in their Jeep. What ended up happening, they wasn't satisfied with what they got, or it was totally wrong and the Jeep did not perform well. Now out through this video, we're going to be talking about off-road. We're not talking about highway use, daily driven use, which some of these gears do apply to the road, but the bigger tire we go, the less on-road friendly that these Jeeps are going to be. Now, a lot of times you'll get on YouTube and you'll search what gear ratio should be in your Jeep, and they get the old whiteboard out and they try to teach you the math and they explain everything to you. And by the time you're done with that video, you're sitting on your phone, looking up a chart or doing something else to figure it out. You never get a straight answer. They just tell you to do this, do that, and do this. Today I'm going to give you some basic information that should get you where you need to be. We're going to go all the way up to 40-inch tires for a Jeep XJ. This could apply to a Jeep Wrangler also, or any Jeep or any vehicle in the off-road world. So we're going to work our way up from 33-inch tires. If you have 31s or 32s or 30s, don't worry about it. Just run the stock gear ratio that you have. You don't have to really mess with the gear ratio. But when you start getting into the 33-inch tires, you're going to need to change the gearing. It's recommended, right? So a good setup for the 33-inch tires, we're going to be talking about the AW4 automatic transmission, or 410s or 456s. This will keep you around the stock ratio. Like when you have 33-inch tires, it'll make you feel like the Jeep's still stock, right? I like the 456s better because it improves acceleration off-road and the crawling abilities. So it'll give you a little bit more oomph off-road. For the AX15, which is the manual transmissions that come in the Jeep XJs, you will need to run 355 gearing. Now, when it comes to this, I wouldn't even change the gearing. I would try to find a used set of Jeep XJ axles out of a automatic because you can find those pretty cheap. Just run 355 gearing in your manual Jeep XJ with 33s. I recommend finding a wrecked Jeep that's an automatic and just grab the axles from those. And you can get them for like $200, the front and the rear, and that way you can do it on a budget. Now, when it comes to the 35-inch tires, I recommend, for the automatic is 456s or 488s. Part of the reason why I said run 456s with 33s is because when you start out modifying your Jeep, you usually start out with 33s, and then you get a bigger lift or you cut fenders, and you want to move up to a 35. So if you run 456s with 33s, you can go ahead and upgrade your tires to 35s, and you don't really have to change your gearing. It'll handle, the 456s will handle going up to 35-inch tires. That's just my personal experience with it. It just varies from 456 to 488s. But if you have 33-inch tires, I do recommend 456s, and then you can upgrade to 35s. You don't have to spend money again to run 35s. Now, if you have a manual transmission, which is the AX15, you'll want to run 410 gears. Now, if you got up to 35-inch tires, a lot of people recommend upgrading the rear axle. And I do also. Some of the 35s nowadays are pretty heavy and they're pretty beefy. So I recommend getting an axle upgrade, even if you can find an 8.8 or a Dana 44 for the rear. Just something a little bit stronger. You can make the stock 8 1/4 last a little bit. Or if you have the Dana 35, I would definitely upgrade to the 8 1/4. You can make it last a little bit if you stay off the skinny pedal. But honestly, I'd go ahead and upgrade the rear axle. We're going to be talking about 37-inch tires. At this point, you want to go ahead and upgrade your front rear axle. I don't care what axles you choose to put under your Jeep, but when you're running 37s, the Dana 30 and the 8 1/4 just ain't going to hold up. I recommend just upgrading the axles. If you're running a auto AW4 with 37-inch tires, I recommend 488s or 513s. If you have the AX 15, which is the manual, you want to run 456 gears. So now we get right into the rock crawling Jeep XJ. You're going to be running a 40-inch tire. You're not going to be worried about highways, fuel mileage. It's probably going to be strictly an off-road rig. And then again, around here, I've seen people run 40-inch tires and they just wobble their way down the street. Don't really recommend it. But depending on what axle you have, you may be limited to what gear sets you can get. So for the automatic, the AW4, you want to run 529s or 617s. To get you in that ballpark, and honestly it does really well. For the manual X15, you want to run 488s or 513 gears. Basically that is the basic rundown with 33s, 35s, 37s, and 40-inch tires. This is the common thing that people run on Jeeps, whether it's a weekend warrior to extreme rock crawler. This is the number one question I get all the time. What should my gearing be? So I just thought I'd make a video on it to answer the question, and it's pretty self-explanatory. You don't see me in front of a whiteboard. This is just from my personal experience. And there is a chart that I will leave right here so you guys can see it for yourself. And if you want to go by that, or if you want to do the math, there's a ton of videos on YouTube to show you how to do the math. Or you can just follow this simple video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you give it a thumbs up. I'm Cherokee Ronnie. Stay dirty, my friends.